I've had multiple women message me saying that he was in a relationship with them.
What?
I kid you not, and I've got the receipts.
Welcome back to another episode of Reality. I am back. We are talking Married at First Sight UK. Make sure you're watching on E4 Monday to Thursday, 9 p.m. It is going off this season. And of course, to celebrate the new season, I'm joined by one of this series' stars. It's Porscha, everybody. Oh my gosh, when I watched you, Porscha, I said, I need to get her in the studio.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Your energy that you bring to the show, your honesty, everything, girl, I'm so here for it. Let's rewind back the clock to when you found out you were going. In fact, what made you apply?
Okay, so I first watched the Australian version back in, I think it was 2020, after I'd just had my son and we were in lockdown and my sister introduced me to it. And I was like, what an amazing concept. And they get a wedding and I've always wanted a wedding. So I was like, this is definitely something I want to apply for. So I applied for it then. But at the time, I didn't know that it was still in the old format. Anyways, they then called me and they said, you know what, we love your application and we actually changed it to the Australian format. So I was like, yay, oh my God. And then, we went through the whole process. They didn't find me a match. So I was like, okay, cool. Went on with my life. The next year, 2021, they called me again and they were like, we really want to try and cast you again this year. So I was like, okay, give it a go, whatever. And they were like, can you fill out the application? I said, no, you've got all my details from last year. So they were like, cool. Again, didn't find me a match. So I was like, oh, okay. Then they called me again for this season. And I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not doing it with you guys anymore. No, because it's just like, you called me 3 times now. And they were like, no, seriously, we really think this year might be your year. Like, can you please fill out an application form? I just ignored the message. And then they called me again and they were like, we see you haven't filled out the application form. Can we just use your previous one? I was like, yeah, of course. And then, they invited me down to exec day or singles day, met with the execs, and they were like, yeah, we love you. Yeah, we found your match. So I was like, oh my God, okay, this is happening. So yeah, it's been a journey for sure.
And were you a little bit nervous?
The thing is, I kind of didn't think it was even going to happen. Even when they told me they found me a match, I was still feeling like something until you've got your contract, you still kind of feel like something can change. They could be like, your match has dropped out, like anything could happen, and they tell you that. So I wasn't even like super excited yet. I was just kind of like, oh, okay. And I didn't really tell anyone until I told my mum because I would need to make sure she would look after my son while I was away. Yeah. But I wanted to be sure I had that contract signed before I even told my job and whatever. So, and that is a big misconception. I do have a job, guys. I do. I've had so many comments saying she doesn't work. How does she afford her lifestyle? Da, 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 da. And I'm like, I work. It literally says Porscha executive assistant. It's so annoying, but yeah.
And what did friends think? Family think?
My mum just laughed. She was like, oh, here we go. Okay, cool. My friend was like, a couple of my friends were like, oh my God, don't do it. And then my best friend was like, oh my God, this is so great. You need to do it. And I was like, okay, cool. So it was kind of a mix, but my family were 100% supportive. They were just kind of like, okay, if this is what you're going to do, we've got your back kind of thing. So
cool. So Porscha, what is your type?
Oh.
Because we've seen you talking it up. Saying you don't want a broke guy. What? Tell us. Okay, set the record straight. What is your type?
Let me give you some backstory behind the whole I don't want a broke guy thing.
But it's okay, by the way.
No. I stand 10 toes down on what I said. That's exactly, I don't want a broke guy. And the reason why that is because I've been with broke guys. I've funded men before. Do you know what I mean? I've literally funded their lifestyles. I've been with men who are on the they're up and coming, and they're they feed you that whole let's build together.
Not up and coming.
No, they're up and coming.
Not interns.
Interns. The aspiring guys.
Not aspiring to be rich.
I'm an aspiring this and I'm an aspiring that. And I was young, so I was like, yes, he's gonna make it. So I helped. I would, if they need money, I would give it to them. I've been working since I was 16, so I've been there where I was, the pick me, and I was funding guys, and it got to the point where I felt I was used, and I was like, no.
Question: did they ever make it?
No. Listen, if a guy needs a girl to fund him or help him make it, he's never going to make it. Men make it on their own.
But hold on. What if there are genuinely some guys who are climbing up the ranks. They're trying their hardest to get there.
That's great, but you don't need my help. I'm not, say for instance, you're an aspiring, I don't know, like football player. I'm not the manager of the team. How can I help you? Like if any aspiring, like, you know, I don't know, whatever, they want to be a singer, a rapper, you know, they want to be a banker or whatever. I am not the manager. I can't help you. So the only thing you're going to use from me is my time and my money and my resources. Do you understand? So I don't want to be that girl again. I did that in my 20s. So I was like, no. When I realized that every single time I always got the bad end of the stick, I was like, I'm not doing this anymore, because I know what I bring to the table, and it's like I fund my whole lifestyle by myself 100%. Do you understand? I don't need a man to help me. But what I'm not gonna do is have a man come into my life and then I'm living the same lifestyle. What is the point? I can do it alone. My whole thing is if you're coming into my life, then you need to tap in. Like, take over, because then we can actually start to be a team. Like, I'll take the load off you, so you're not going to work and coming home and cooking and cleaning and stressing about managing the bills and and you can take the load off me, where I can do all of the home stuff and manage the household, and then like you can go out and make the money. I don't understand like why. That can also be a partnership. A partnership doesn't always have to be we're both doing the exact same thing. I've always believed that equal is not the same. Do you understand? We can be 100% equals, but just playing our roles. Okay. Do you understand? And that's just, it's a different type of household. Like, as I said before, I am a traditional woman, right? And there's nothing wrong with being a modern woman, but that's just not who I am. And there's nothing wrong with being a modern man, but that's just not who I want. Like,
okay. So how do you know then if that guy who your potential love partner is of the financial standard you want them to be? So on the first date, are you asking them the question, you know?
Listen.
Or can you just judge? Do you feel like you can just tell?
No. When it comes to like, when I say I want a guy who looks after me, it's not even about how much money he has. It's a mindset. A provider man could be a bus driver. I know women.
So would you date a bus driver?
No.
I knew it. I know. Let's be real here. Let's be real today.
But I would date somebody who works with TFL.
Okay.
There's other people. There's people that work in the offices. There's managers. There's supervisors.
Why wouldn't you date a bus driver?
Because I earn more than bus drivers.
Fine.
Most of them, yeah. So I do want someone who earns more than me, only because I want someone that I can.
But what if the person's like a senior bus driver? You know, like they're like a senior. They're like an esteemed person who maybe is earning a bit more than the average bus driver.
If he's earning more than me, then that's great. Or even the same as me, then that's fine. That's fine. Like, it's not about, he doesn't have to be a millionaire. It's a provider mindset. There's men who are like, you know, who clean the bins, but their women don't have to pay bills at home. Do you understand? I know a lot of, like, for instance, like, I know a lot of builders or construction workers who go out work freaking 12-hour shifts and come home, and you know they got dinner on the table and the wife and kids are taken care of financially, because it's a mindset. Like that whole 50-50 thing. There's millionaires who make you go 50-50. Hello, have you not seen Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade? Her talking about, it's not about how much money you got, it's a mindset. And for me, I just feel like if a man is not even prepared to buy my dinner, how can I really expect this guy to provide a lifestyle for me and my kids?
Okay, so let's get straight back into Married at First Sight UK. Where obviously you were married to Terence. When you first set eyes on him on the altar, what were your first thoughts?
First initial thoughts, I was like, okay. Like, I genuinely was like, okay, he's not my usual type at all, looks-wise. But I was like, he's not a bad-looking guy. Then he smiled, and the gold tooth kind of made me go,
Why?
I've never dated a guy with a gold tooth, and it's just not it's not something I've ever been attracted to. So it was just kind of like, oh, that's new, something I'm going to have to get used to. And then I looked down at his hands, and I can see that he had like tattooed sleeves, and I have tattoos. I got them when I was very young. I think my most recent I got more than 15 years ago. I'm not into tattoos now.
Oh, come on. You can't say that about him then if you've got tattoos yourself. Come on.
But that's why I didn't judge him, and that's why I wasn't like completely like no, because I was like, I've got tattoos. I wanted to know more about his tattoo story. Do you know what I mean? Like,
but did he ask you about your tattoo story?
I mean, I don't think he really noticed it very early, because like my tattoos right now, I think I've got like 6, but you can't really see any. Like they're quite hidden. So Yeah, and I wanted to know more about his tattoo. Did he get them when he was young, like me, and realize that it's a mistake, or are they more recent? And I did ask those questions, and it was the latter.
And then you obviously found out that he's like a DJ.
I didn't care about that.
Really?
That didn't bother me. What bothered my deal breaker was height and religion. Those were my deal breakers. I didn't care what they were going to do for a job. The only thing that bothered me about the whole DJ thing is the late nights. Because I'm a mum, so I have early mornings.
That's part of their job, though, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. So, but I didn't write him off because he's a DJ. It was just a concern because I was like, he's not going to be at home on weekends. When you have kids, Monday to Friday is like, time for like working and looking after the kids, but the weekend is time for family. Do you understand? But for him, the weekend is time for party or work or whatever. So that was definitely something I was thinking, I don't see how this is actually going to work. And then that's why I asked him questions like, is this the kind of lifestyle you want to do forever? Like, what's the time frame of this? Because you're 40 now. Like, I would think that you've only got like 4 or 5 more years until you kind of want to do something else. But
what if there are some older DJs though? What
Calvin
if...
Harris? Yeah,
exactly.
But he's not Calvin Harris.
Come on. But he could be. You never know.
Calvin Harris was Calvin Harris at like 30.
But he could be working towards it.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
you know what it is? I think it's about having faith in someone sometimes and having faith in someone's dreams.
It's so hard to have faith in a stranger. You don't know their history and you don't know if they have any integrity. So it's really hard. My thing was, okay, I've met this guy. Lifestyles don't work, but I'm never one to write someone off. Even my sister, she pulled me to the side and she was just like, he's not your usual type. And I was like, yeah, I know. Like she was like, I don't think you're gonna. But she was like, but I know you. If he's got a good heart, I know you're gonna look past all of that. And I was like, yeah, for sure.
All right. So what do we think the matchmakers were thinking then? Like have you thought to yourself like, what was the process here? Like, where was the correlation? Do you feel that they thought, all right, this would make sense?
I'm going to be so for real with you now. Let's drink some tea. Some tea's about to come out. I don't believe, well, from what I hear, rumor has it, he did not sell them on the fact that he's a DJ. He sold them on the fact that he's a father and a youth worker. Okay. So that's where they felt like if you hear the experts speak when they're doing our matchmaking, that's their biggest correlation with us. She's a mother. He works with young kids, so there'll be that compassion there. So that's where they matched us on. I think he played down the fact that he's a DJ, because I don't think they would have matched us if that was his primary thing. Whereas when we get into the experiment, he's very vocal about the fact that, DJ's my life, I love music, DJ, he hardly speaks about the whole youth working thing once we're in the experiment. Do you understand? So I think that's why they matched us. I think he was a different person in casting.
Okay, I see. Now, let's just jump back to the wedding day. I'm not going to lie. I felt like it looks like you two got along really, really well.
We did.
Like, I was like, yeah, I can see the potential here.
It was, we did, I feel like we spent a lot of time getting to know each other's families, and it was almost like a unspoken decision that we had made together. But then as soon as, we got into the car to go to the hotel where we were going to stay, we were, talking with each other, holding hands, and it was very sweet. And we held hands for most of the journey, and then we got there and we had a good chat. And I feel like there was an initial connection for sure. When we first saw each other, it was I don't know why they didn't show it, but we were smiling, cheesing when we looked at each other the first time. So there was an initial connection for sure.
Right, well, let's talk about the honeymoon, because I feel like this is where things went left.
But this is the thing. It went left, but it went left right at the end.
Oh.
Right at the end. The first day, so what did we do the first day? Oh, gosh. I just had a memory. So basically, they didn't show this part. But the first day, we did sandboarding, and I work in fashion. Fashion is very close to my heart. So I don't judge people by how they dressed, but there's certain things that will immediately give me the ick.
And what's that?
Ripped denim hot pants on men.
So wait. So you're saying that you guys went out, was it the first day of the honeymoon?
This was
He's wearing ripped denim. Is it
They were short shorts. They were short.
Oh, what, up to thigh?
I could see his thigh. They were
Must have been a hot day, boy.
I mean, it was Morocco, so it was very
Yeah. So you saw that, and what were your thoughts?
My thoughts were like, oh, that's different.
Okay.
Oh, okay. But I was like, I'm not going to write him off for a pair of shorts. But it did kind of give me the ick. And I did speak with him on camera.
You seem like you've got high standards.
I do.
I think this is what it is.
Yeah, I've got,
You've
high,
got high
standards.
standards.
I've got high standards, but I don't write people off because of the way they dress. I just explained to him, like, can I just not see? Because I realized he had more than one pair of those. Because
Sorry, no, you're defo bothered by this. You are defo bothered by this. When you saw that there was more than one pair, you said, nah,
I was like,
let's be honest now. I know you're trying to be like, let's be honest. You were bothered by the denim hot pants.
I was bothered.
No.
Because I just like manly men. I do like manly men.
Hold on, how does that make you not manly?
They were a bit feminine. And
Really?
Then, yeah, they were quite feminine. Then he wore it with a pink t-shirt. It was quite feminine.
Oh, I mean,
it
but maybe
wasn't-
that's his choice of like clothing.
and that's great. But like I like really like men.
That's your type.
That's my type. Like really masculine men. Like men who borderline like. I don't want to say it.
Just like masculine men.
Very
That's you,
masculine
yeah.
men, like
Hyper
do you know
masculine,
what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah,
Hyper-masculinity.
but men who are very comfortable in their masculinity,
Yeah.
like, do you understand? So for me, it just came across like it was all very feminine, but I didn't write him off. Like I said, sat him down.
I don't obviously like from watching him on screen, he does seem like a very, like a very masculine man.
Masculine men don't make you pay 50-50. They wouldn't even dare. I've had men where I've actually tried to pay and they're like, you're insulting me. You're insulting me. Like, do you understand? So I like my father is a very masculine man.
Yeah.
My mum, I've never seen her pay a bill.
Okay.
So
Quick, we'll get into that in a second, but quick rewind to the honeymoon.
Yes.
So everything was all going fine.
So it was really
First-
good. Yeah, it was obviously how it's like you're getting to know a stranger, innit? So
Yeah.
you're getting
it was
to know
quite
each other.
fun. You were doing activities, I'm guessing.
Yeah, we were doing activities. We shared a bed every night. We had a
Yeah.
kiss and cuddle. Like, we were getting on. We were laughing and joking. Every day wasn't perfect, but like he would always say, "Oh my God, we're so similar." Like, and I think that was kind of a red flag for me, where he kept on. I felt like at times he was mirroring my behavior because I'm like, how can you say we're so similar? We don't know each other, and that's very scary to me because I've been in situations in my past where men have mirrored me to try and create a false sense of intimacy. And that was when he would say things like that, like my heart would start pounding because I just feel like, oh my God, like I'm back where, this isn't, because we're not similar. We were very different. I like to go to bed early. You like to go to bed late. Do you understand? So I felt like he would say little things like this. And I feel like he was doing it to try and create this intimacy and trying to create this common ground, which was nice. But I would have preferred for us to just vibe how we were vibing because there was an attraction, there was chemistry for sure. And I was enjoying that. But then I felt like on his part, there was a lot of pressure for me to behave a certain way, like to behave like Brad and Shona. And I was like, I can't do that. Like, I'm not going to fall in love with you in this honeymoon. I'm not going to want to spend every waking second with you. I'm not thirsty like that. Like, it's just not even who I am. Like, I like to have my space and I like to give, my partners their space as well. And I think where my exes have been, they're very much like, they kind of just got it. Like, he would try and talk to me, where I'm trying to like blend my makeup and we're like, listen, we've been here in Morocco for 3 days. I've gone 2 shades darker and my foundation ain't blending. I need a second. I need a beat. And like, and I've been in past relationships where they just knew, look, Porscha they'll ask me, how long are you going to be? I'll be like, an hour and a half. They're like, cool, I'm going to take a nap. Call me when you're ready. And call me 10 minutes before you're ready and I'll get dressed. Whereas he would want to speak to me throughout the whole time. And I think that's where I was just kind of like, I didn't want to be rude, but at the same time, I just felt like he wanted a lot more from me so early that I don't think I was comfortable to give to a stranger. Like, I kept on thinking, we have time. I don't want to rush this because I fall in love quickly. I do. And especially when things are going really well, I will dive head in and it's always burnt me in the end. So I didn't want to do this because I was like, this is such a unique opportunity that we have this time where we've been shut away for the world for 10 weeks. We can take time to get to know each other and really find out if we're compatible instead of just going off of, connection, lust and all that kind of stuff. And because sometimes when you go like you're too, let's say, physical quite early, I feel
Yeah.
like it creates emotions that are not really there.
And if you don't mind me asking, was there lust with you two?
What last? I mean, we were definitely attracted to each other.
Yeah,
We
like
definitely
was there sexual chemistry? Do you
There
feel?
was sexual chemistry.
Oh,
We
good.
didn't have sex though, but that was not because of him or me. That was a rule that I gave myself before going into the experiment. That whoever I matched with, I'm not going to sleep with them during the experiment. And we discussed that on the second day, and he agreed to it. And that was
Do you know what?
fine.
This is quite refreshing to hear because I feel like when I'm watching the show, I've not watched you two and thought, oh, there's probably sexual chemistry there. I just thought it always looks like, all right, you're getting along, then there's a rocky ride, then you dip, then you go up. So I'm like,
Oh no, for sure.
I was
there
always wondering, like, was
no.
there? That's good.
I mean, for sure. Like the only every time listen. Let me go back to my business.
What was you gonna say?
I mean, fair enough, we might not always lived in the same apartment, but when we were in the same apartment, we always shared the same bed, and not some couples.
Oh,
Always,
really?
Yeah, so
What couples weren't sharing the same bed?
I can't say. I'm not at liberty to say. Sorry.
Okay, so fine. Back to the honeymoon.
Yes.
Okay, was it at the honeymoon where he kind of told you about his cheating?
Yes.
And
Yes.
Yeah.
So obviously, like,
that threw you off big time, didn't it?
yeah. Okay. So, and I'm happy to tell you this as well, because I told him, and he only understood why my reaction was so big once I had told him, once we were back in the apartment. But so basically, like, my first boyfriend cheated on me. Sorry, that's my phone. Should I just switch off? Okay. So my first boyfriend cheated on me when I was very, very young. Had a one night stand and then had a baby.
Yeah.
Which shattered me. We tried to make it work, didn't work, but it was such a life-changing thing that happened to me. Like, I think it took me years to actually emotionally recover, even though I had been over the relationship. For the damaging effects, it took me a few years to get over. And it was something that, it was quite painful to me. And, you know, so it was very triggering to hear somebody, like, he kind of almost, it felt like he was bragging that I've cheated, because he was like, yeah, I've cheated, so what? Yeah, I was kind of young, and I was like, oh, okay. And then, like, I was like, oh, and then recently, and he was like, yeah, and then again, like, you know, recently, like, and I was like, oh, so it wasn't a thing like it's in the past. This is something that's quite recent. Like, this is something you do. Do you understand? Even though, and the fact that he tried to downplay it made me feel like I don't think he really understands the damage that cheating can do to somebody else. And that's where it made me see that. It made me feel like he lacked empathy in that department. So it was very triggering, and it was very, like, even though, like, we had been getting on, it made me kind of go, whew, slow down, Porscha. I don't, like, you need to know more before you kind of keep going at the pace you're going, because this guy could really hurt you down the line. Like, even down to, like, you match that with his lifestyle of being a DJ, like, clubbing all the time. And, like, he tells me, like, he goes to something called, what did he say? Something called Southport Weekender.
Okay.
Like, that's the thing that he does every year. And I was like, well, what is that? And he's like, you know, adults just link up and they just drink and party for 3 or 4 days. I was like, what? Like, to me,
that's a nightmare for you. That's your
like,
your idea of hell.
Yeah, it is. Like, it is. It literally.
But you
is.
mean you don't want that in a partner?
I don't want that in a partner. I want a father. I want a husband. I want somebody in the summer. Fair enough, you can have a lad's holiday. I don't care. But I don't want you to, like, purposely book time in your year every year to go and party and get absolutely wasted for 3 days, like 3 or 4 days of the year in, like, this, in, like, a group of hotels where everyone's just hanging. It's just like basically a village,
like a party resort.
yeah,
basically.
a party resort. And I was just like, it just sounds like something a man in his 20s would do. It just didn't give me a sense of reliability. Like, I didn't feel like he was stable.
So what I'm thinking here is, from him, number one, being honest with you about that and about his cheating, do you not just feel like maybe in his mind, and I'm trying to think about it from his point of view, do you not feel like in his mind, he was just like, look, I'm actually just being real about who I am. I'm actually giving you the full version, if you want. Like, he's not trying to hide anything. He's just trying to be honest. So you have the full picture.
No, but this is the thing, and that's great. And I didn't think he was a bad person. I was just thinking he wasn't the man for me.
Fine.
Do you understand? For a girl who enjoys partying, a girl who, you know, loves that lifestyle, that's clubbing, and, like, he would be perfect for it. And this is what was so upsetting, because I was slowly starting to realize I had made a big mistake. Like, it wasn't just about him. It was about everything I had given up to go on the show. I was like, oh my God, like, it felt like my hopes and dreams, I was mourning the death of what I thought this experience was going to be. Do you understand? So I'm doing that. So it's going to be hard for me to then get excited about him. But at the same time, I don't want to write him off because I don't want to just throw in the towel. And, you know, there's such an amazing opportunity. You don't just want to throw it in the bin because it doesn't look like what you thought it would look like. Because he could, like I said, turn out to have a great heart, turn out to be very caring. And it could turn out to be an amazing result, even though it didn't look like what I expected. And this is why I was trying to like still be open-minded, because that's how I am. Like, I never ever go into any situation and just run at the first hurdle. That's not who I am.
Yeah.
Like, so it's hard because people are seeing a lot of my apprehensions, but at the same time I was still giving it a go. Like, I was still like, okay, it might not look like how you want, but you have to try until there's nothing left to give.
Yeah.
You know? So
Okay. And let's talk about the incident that happened with the spoon on the
spoon gate.
honeymoon. Now, okay, so from what we saw on screen, okay, you asked for a serving spoon. Am I correct?
Yes.
And he offered you the serving spoon.
Yes.
But you said, no. I don't want yours.
I didn't even say like
and
that.
And then he called you childish.
Yeah.
So this is the issue that's happened here.
Okay.
Now, viewers, people online, and I'm speaking for the people online, okay?
Those lovely people.
The people them online felt that maybe you were overreacting. But obviously, I do understand, and I do give like reality stars grace, because I understand we're only seeing like a short clip maybe of what happened. So explain what happened, and like, do you feel like you were overreacting? Was the spoon clean?
The spoon was dirty, first of all.
What?
The spoon was dirty, first of all. It had been used. He had used it to dish out some curry or something. So I wanted a fresh spoon, first of all. And second of all, where you guys see me overreacting, those are clips from two different scenes. They're not from the same conversation. Do you understand?
Oh.
Those are clips. They're not from the same. They're not from Spoongate. Because what happens immediately after he calls me childish and I ask him, excuse me, and he repeats it, I immediately walk out. I walk away and I start taking off my shoes. He's then walked out, right? Then when I've seen he's walked out, I'm like, great, he's gone. Let me go back and finish my dinner. So I've then walked back in. I've started eating my dinner. He's then walked back in and sat down and then starts explaining, like criticizing me, explaining all this, like just basically going over the whole like me not giving him me not matching his energy and all of this kind of stuff again. And I literally go to him like, why are you back here? We literally just had an argument. Like, why are you back here to restart it? And then he sits down and he sits down and then he starts talking again. And I was just, no. So he sits down, he starts talking again. And then he goes back to like, why are you so mad? And I was like, because you're literally like, making me out to be someone I'm not. You're sitting there like saying that I don't let you talk, and I'm like, I've literally listened to him. You got to remember, you saw 3-4 minutes of that dinner. It was like 3 hours long. So I had listened to him talk a lot. So I was so annoyed that he's then saying, oh, the moment I say something, I can't speak. It's always like Porscha can only talk. So I was very annoyed at this point. Plus, we had been traveling all day. Like, we went from Agadir to Marrakesh. It was a long drive. And I was like so tired. We've been filming all day. And I was just like, I was really not in the mood for someone just coming at me and criticizing me over what. And the thing is with me as well, like, insults are such a boundary. I do not belittle anyone. I don't talk down on people. Like, I don't insult you unless it's warranted. I don't feel like me not wanting your spoon is warranted for you to then call me childish. Childish is like an attack on my character. Like, I'm a mother. The last thing I am is childish. Do you know what I mean? Like, I do everything for my son, and my son has a very good life. So for you then to call me childish, like, and create the connotations of irresponsible, I'm like, I'm irresponsible. You're the guy who comes in at 4 a.m. I get up at 6 a.m. do a 2-hour shift, get my son off to school, then go into the office, do another 9-hour shift, go and grab him. I don't get home sometimes till 8:30, 9 o'clock, and I got to do that again 3-4 days a week. Do you understand? I know I'm not childish, so it was such an attack on my character, and it hurt as well, I think as well, because it was coming from this man I had just married. Yes, he's a stranger, but I was committing myself to him throughout this experiment, and it was just, for me, it was another revelation as to why we're not compatible. And every revelation as to why we're not compatible was painful to me, because I wanted this to work. Do you understand? I didn't want to give up on the last hurdle, but every day it was just like more and more apparent that this is not the guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is not your man, because I know, like, God's best for me isn't a man who insults me. I know that.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Now, you obviously took this because this really annoyed you. So even when it came to the dinner party, when you guys were kind of back in the UK, you went by yourself, didn't you?
Okay. See, this is the thing. Once the next day, me and him were cool. The next day we were cool. Okay. I didn't mention it. I let it drop. I was like, let's just be calm about it, right? It still hurt me, and it was still something, because I was like, I need to give him some space and give myself some space, because I want to understand if that's how, if this is how he really feels about me, or has he said this in the heat of the moment? Do you understand? Because I don't know him yet. So next day, we flew back. We were cool. We were laughing and joking, had lunch, whatever. We got back to the apartments. There was even a scene that you guys don't see. We film coming back in the apartments. We're laughing and joking. We're excited. And then we sit down, like, and we start talking about the apartment. And I say to him, like, because you guys cut into, like, we're just arguing. Nah, it never happened like that. Like, it did not happen like that. We got back in. We're sitting next to each other on the sofa. And I was like, babe, like, you know, like, the things that you said to me really upset me. Like, I was really hurt by the whole childish comment. So I really need to understand, is that how you really feel about me? Or did you say it in the heat of the moment? And he was like, yeah, that's how I really feel. So I was like,
oh!
Yeah.
Oh!
So I was like,
oh! Hey!
And that's when I was like, how does I could not understand the correlation between me not wanting a used spoon to then equating to me being childish. I couldn't, like, it was baffling to me. And the fact that he was standing 10 toes down on this insult made me think, insults are okay for you. This is like this is what happens in your family. This is what happens with you and your friends. You guys insult each other and it's calm. Because he was like, just get over it. There was no apology. There was no explanation. And that's when, obviously, it then looks like we just started arguing. No, that was like a 20-minute calm conversation, which then escalated because he wouldn't address the facts. Like, he was like, why are you even bringing this up? We're just moving into this apartment. Look at the nice kitchen. Look at the... And I was like, what the hell has the house got to do with the fact that you've hurt my feelings? Like, I just couldn't get it. It was
okay, so at what point do you decide that you're not going to the dinner party with each other?
He decided this alone. So basically what happened is I then left the apartments because I was like, I can't stay here tonight. Producer comes down and speaks to me. She's like, I was visibly upset. She was like, babe, I think you should just stay here tonight. And then tomorrow morning we're gonna bring you back upstairs and film you guys getting ready together, right? And then you guys go to dinner party together. The next morning comes, right? I get a knock on my door. Producer comes in and she's like, Terence doesn't want to go to dinner party with you. He wants to walk in alone. I was like,
oh,
okay.
Did that hurt you? How did that make you feel?
Of course it hurt me. Listen, I don't know, like, I'm assuming from your last name you're African, right?
Yeah.
In our culture, like, our parents could be beefing, but there's no way they would go to a party separately. They're just not going to let the world know that there's issues. Do you understand? Like,
so you wanted to keep it a bit more private.
Yeah, a bit more
yourselves.
private. And the thing is, what annoyed me is, like, because that's kind of the standard. It's respectful. Yeah. It's like, let's keep what's in the home in the home. Like, when you just make a decision like that to go in separately, people are obviously then going to ask questions. You're inviting scandal. Because it's like, why are they separately? Like, people are going to ask. So what do you want me to say? I'm like, no, we're fine. We just decided to come in separately. Obviously, I have to explain. Otherwise, I look like a liar and I look freaking delusional. Yeah. Do you understand? So I felt like at that moment, he really forced my hand into this drama being public now. Because I felt like it was such a thing that we could get over and talk about in private, which we had done before. But...
And obviously, when you'd walked in, he'd walked in after... he said hi to everyone else around you other than you. How did that make you feel?
How is that going to make you feel? Like, obviously, it felt like bullying. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, I felt like I was on the playground in high school, like, when the Mean Girls come over. It felt like Mean Girl. Like, when the Mean Girl comes over and she's just like, hi to everyone and just, like, glosses over you and makes it very visible, because it was very visible. And it made me feel that big, like...
But do you feel like maybe from his perspective, just putting myself in his mind for a second maybe, do you feel like maybe he felt like you might have been so annoyed that you weren't even going to say hi back to him anyway? So maybe he was like, you know what, I'm going to leave her for a second and then maybe speak to her later.
Babe, this is a dinner party that we film over 12 hours. If he really wanted to say hi to them girls, he could have waited till I was away. there was no rush. I didn't even say hi to Brad for most of the night because he was talking to Brad. Do you understand? Like, there was, like, he purposely picked that moment. No one can deny that. Like, he didn't have to say hi to them at that moment. I wasn't sitting there all night.
And then it got to a point in that dinner party where there was a bit of an outburst, and I feel like emotions were let out.
Yeah, there was a lot of scenes cut out of that. A lot.
What didn't we see?
So you see him coming to try and talk to me, right?
Mhm.
I said they muted my vocals because at that moment I said, because I was eating, I said, not right now, I'll come talk to you in a second, right? Then I get up, like literally 2 minutes after I finish like munching what I'm munching, I get up, I call him over, we go sit by the sofas, and I'm like, okay. Like, because I'm thinking, fucking explain yourself. Sorry for swearing. I'm thinking, my God, explain yourself. Because that behavior, the ignoring, it's not gentlemanly. So I was thinking, so I was like, okay. And then he goes back to try and saying, oh, you know, like he wasn't even talking about the spoon. He started talking about like me not matching his energy and da-da-da-da-da. And I was thinking, where is this coming from? Because day 2, you were like, our energies are exactly the same. You can't believe the experts matched you with someone just like me. So I was just like, I let him talk, go on. And then I was like, and then there was silence. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Is that everything? And he was like, what? You waiting for an apology? And I was like, okay. And I walk off. And I'm so annoyed that you guys didn't get to see that.
Oh, so
scene.
he made it clear to you then that
he was
wasn't,
not going to apologize. He made it so clear, like he was not going to get an apology. So obviously I felt like there's nothing more I can do. And that's when I was like, I can't even physically like be in this room. Like I just felt like I shouldn't have come here. I felt humiliated. I felt stupid. I felt like for someone that I was actually starting to like, to treat me so... It was disgusting. Like I wouldn't even treat like someone I didn't like that way.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't nice.
Okay, now the first commitment ceremony shocked me. I'm not gonna lie, because when it came to the stay or leave part, you chose stay and
really
he
wanted to
chose leave.
I should have wrote leave. Like now looking back, I should have wrote leave, and it was so conflicting. Like I kept on saying I want to leave, but I had so many people in my ear saying just stay. It's the first week.
Who was in your ear?
So many.
Who?
Everyone.
Oh, so like cast members and stuff like that, encouraging you to go.
Yeah.
Just like.
They were like, why would you?
But
leave?
maybe they saw the potential. Maybe they saw what the experts saw.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, this is the thing. Like the whole show's made it out like it was so tumultuous from the beginning, and it just wasn't.
Yeah.
And this was annoying because I was like, we actually got on, and I can't understand like how he can't see how this is affecting me, and the fact that he just seemed like he didn't give a F. Like he seemed like he just did not care, and he was just like whatever. Like there was just no, like he would say things like, it's like you're sitting there saying I'm hurt, but you're not acting hurt. You're not trying to resolve it. Like you're walking away, you're dismissing my feelings, you're dismissing me, and acting like what I'm saying doesn't make any sense. It's like, so how, if you can't even acknowledge my feelings and acknowledge how you've hurt me when I'm trying to tell you, like, you know, you've hurt me. Like Roz even says at one point, what do you need, Porscha? Do you want an apology? And I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like I was like not telling him how he could fix this. It was literally like I want an apology, and he was standing 10 toes down on the fact that I'm not apologizing. Do you understand? So and obviously me writing stay, and as well, I felt like to myself, for me to write leave on the first week after everything it's taken me to get here, it would have been a cop out. It would have been a cop-up because this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And for you to just throw it away, it just shows as well, like, you don't understand the value of it. Like, and as well... Go on.
Let me ask a question.
Go on.
So are you saying that really and truly the real reason why you did not leave in that first commitment ceremony was more because of your experience than him? Than your experience on the show than necessarily a relationship with him?
It was more to do with the fact that I don't give up on it's an argument over a spoon. Like when you actually deep it, and I was just like calling someone childish, like the insult, like in a normal situation, I probably would have blocked him, but if that was the first date. But you got to remember, I already spent a week with this guy. I already spent time getting to know him. And I just felt like this is so stupid if we're going to throw away an opportunity of an actual... Because in my mind, I was still thinking that he came here for the right reasons and he came here for a relationship. But then, obviously, and I didn't think he was going to write leave. I genuinely didn't think he was going to write leave, because who writes leave on the first week? Like, there's people argue. There were people who had worse argument. I think Nathaniel and Ella didn't speak to each other for 3 days. there are people who had worse arguments than us who still wrote stay. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So I didn't think he was going to leave. But then, now knowing what I know and what I've been told,
What have you been told?
he never planned to stay.
Really?
He I don't know if that's gonna affect your sound.
That's fine. No, good.
Since the show's been airing, I've had multiple women message me saying that he was in a relationship with them.
What?
I kid you not, and I've got the receipts. I will show you.
What do you mean? So wait. So
I'll get my phone and show you the DMs I've been getting.
Explain it. Obviously, you know, he's not here to defend himself.
He's got another girlfriend now watching this with the show. Like, basically, he would never plan to stay. Like, this was all to promote his DJ business. But he told me that he came on the show to promote his DJ business. Because I asked him.
Really?
Yeah, I asked him, why did you decide to apply for this show? Because I was like, because men don't really like apply for stuff like this. So I was like, what made you want to do this show? And he was like, I thought it would be a good way to promote my DJ business. So you got to remember, he's telling me this on the you got to remember,
listen, if you got to hustle, you got to get that coin.
I'm not mad at that, but imagine him telling me this on the honeymoon, plus the cheating, plus like so many other things.
So by that point, you're just like, all right, you think he's not serious.
I was like, I don't think this guy's serious.
Okay, but look, after the commitment ceremony, right, he actually did apologize. And I do feel like after that, I start to see growth between you two.
Well, there was
definitely growth. And I was like, do you know what? I'm kind of liking how you've gone through that part and now you're in a better place. It felt like.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. Like, I forgive very quickly once I have an apology. That's all I wanted, and this is why I think I was so frustrated, because I'm like, it's 4 days now and you haven't apologized. You don't understand that if you apologize, we can move past this really quickly. Do you understand? And obviously, we had that session with Mel. She's lovely. We had that session with Mel, and it was cut really short from what you guys saw. It was quite a long session, and she asked me, like, Porscha, like. She asked us to do an exercise where we just like speak to each other for 5 minutes, and then he was like, yeah, I'll do it. She was like, can you do that, Porscha? And I was just like, yeah. And she was like, sure? I was like, no. There's no way I can open up to this guy for 5 minutes of like, because she asked us to share something really personal, and I was like, I can't do that after the insult, knowing the way he's spoken to me. Like, I explained to him, like, I hold my character at such high esteem. For somebody to attack it in that way, and for my husband, is really painful to me. And, you know, he hasn't apologized. Like, I was like, if I feel disrespected in any way, even if it's at a job, I immediately start looking for a new role. I would not stay where I feel disrespected, like all my walls go up and, you know, it's a goodbye for me. And then that's when she explained to him, you know, all this time he's been trying to make it like Portia's just difficult. She was like, this isn't a Porscha-ism, this is a humanism. It's about respect and it's a boundary. And she goes, what did she say? She was like, now hearing what Porscha has said, like, what do you have to say to Porscha? And obviously that's when he apologized. So once I had that apology, it was very easy for me to then let down my walls a little bit. Do you understand? And you see that very quickly. It's literally like the next day. Yeah,
so that's cool. And then let's fast forward on to the more dramatic bits. To that dinner party where you and Peggy had a clash.
Oh.
Tell me about that.
So, okay. Well, I mean, you guys saw it.
Yeah.
So on our day off, I think that this is the day. So the day before I was about to move back into the apartment, it was our day off, and you know, everyone had done their stuff in the day, and then in the evening I went around looking for everyone. They were all in the common room having a drink or whatever. So I go in there. It's like a party going on, like music, people are drinking. I call him because we agreed to meet up that evening. So I called him, and because I I called Terence, sorry, because he wasn't in the apartment. So I called him and I was like, hey, where are you? You back? And because he went to go see the kids. I was like, you back? And he was like, no, I'm gonna stay here overnight. Da, da, da. So I was like, oh, okay. Like, he was like, why? What's going on there? I was like, party. And it was like it was a fun night. Then somebody, I'm not gonna say who, but somebody decided like everyone's gonna play spin the bottle, and I was like, oh my god, this is so kidding. And I was like, I'm gonna go, and then they were like, no, you have to play, like everyone here has to play. So I was like, this is so freaking childish. Anyways, so we play spin the bottle, and you know, I actually only kissed twice. It only landed on me twice, and there was this joke that was like, there's like, it hasn't landed on Porscha, and I was like, God don't want me to play. And then straight away it lands on me, and I was like, darn it. And then it was Luke who had spun the bottle, so we'd kiss. But and then obviously that happened. But I mean, like, there was so many people kissing, like boys kissing boys, girls kissing girls. It went all over the place, kind of thing. But after that kiss happened, I think because me and Paul were like, we're not going to kiss each other because we were like brother and sister. So we're like, that's not going to happen. We put that boundary in place. After that kiss had happened, the next day when I saw Terence, when we moved in, I told him, you know, spin the bottle happened, like me and Luke kissed, and he was like, yeah, I know, I went round to Luke's, and he was like, I kissed your wife, and I was just like, and I was like, my thing is, Luke kissed so many people like that. Why were you so thirsty to tell Terence that you kissed me? Like, do you know what I mean? Did you also tell him that you kissed freaking Tom? You didn't tell him that, like, you're telling him about us, but he was like, but I was like, cool, whatever. And I, you know, I said to him, yeah, like, didn't mean anything. It was like a game, like, whatever. And I was just like, I was like, you're right. And he was just like, yeah. And I was just like, it was a game. I was like, but let me know if you're upset by it, kind of thing. And he was like, nah. And then we kind of just moved in, got on, whatever. And then, like, he would come back from filming, and he'll be like, oh, like, the producers are probably trying to push this cheating narrative. And I was like, what? Do you think I cheated on you? Like, you need to tell me if you feel that way, like, so we can address it. And he was like, nah, come on. It was like a childish game. Do you know what I mean? Like, of course not. And I was like, oh, okay, so why do the producers keep asking you about it? And he was just like, I don't know. And I was like, well, what are you telling them? And he was like, I'm telling them, I don't want to answer that. And I'm like, but if you just answer it, they'll start asking you. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you just answer it, they'll start asking you. So I didn't understand. That was kind of like shady to me as well. Anyways, then I start hearing that there's like this brewing storyline or this brewing rumor where Peggy and George are upset because they weren't invited to the party. And we're like, huh? No one was invited to the party. It was literally in the common room, and I only stumbled across it. Like, no one texted me, no one told me it was happening. I just stumbled across it. Everyone was in there, and I think that's how it happened with everyone. But they went around telling everyone how they're mad because no one texted them or da-da-da-da-da. But at the same time, they were like, even if they were there, they wouldn't have played. So people were like, why are you mad then? But it was like a thing. Like, it was like after 2 or 3 days, they kept on talking about it. And then obviously at the dinner party, George and Peggy start questioning me about like me kissing Luke, and I was just like, what has that got to do with you? Why are you even mad? Like, why is this even a thing? Like, and then it just keeps like, and then I was like, look, I'm not even going to talk to you guys about this. Like, I'm done. Like, I don't have to explain nothing to you. But then honestly, they kept on, Porscha, we want to talk. Porscha, we want to say this. And I'll just be like, Porscha, but don't you think this? Don't you? And I was like, I don't care what you think. Like, me and Terence have spoken about it. We are cool. What is your beef? Like, but then obviously you can see they're having arguments with other people because they were doing it to everyone. Like, they were just on it. But I did not understand, like, why they were so judgmental and why they were so upset over a party that apparently they hadn't been invited to. But even if they were invited to, they wouldn't have played. They wouldn't have. So it just, the whole thing didn't make any sense. And it just felt like, I just felt like Peggy and George were being way too much in my business. Honestly, I was just like, I really need you, like, to get off my back because no, you're not mum and dad. Like, I don't have to explain my actions to you or my thoughts. You know what I mean? We're not even friends like that. Like, so just back off a little bit. Like, I had hardly spoken to Peggy.
And how have we left things with them? Kind of like cordial?
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
I don't hold a grudge,
Cool.
but, you know.
Fast forward to that last commitment ceremony.
This is a shocker. So
why did you throw the towel in?
Listen, that night after dinner party, me and Terence had a really good night. Like, we were so connected at that moment, not sexually, but just like, I feel like at that moment during that dinner party, I feel like that was the first time we were behaving like a team. And we were so cool and we had such a good night. On my side, I thought we were going in exactly the right direction, right? We had got over so many hurdles. Went to commitment ceremony. My only issue during that commitment ceremony was actually with Peggy and George because I felt like they had been completely out of order during that dinner party. And I felt like I deserved an apology. So I did address some things because there's like, George swears at me during that dinner party, and he's very aggressive towards me, but then calls me aggressive because I don't want to talk to him. And there's moments where Ella is literally swearing at him and he's got no rebuttal for her. Like, he's got no vim. And I was like, why is it okay for Ella to swear at you like that? I'm telling you I don't want to talk to you and you're swearing at me. Like, there's definitely a double standard there. And I address it because I'm like, this is the double standard. And like, that was my issue. Then all of a sudden, Terence is like, no, it's Terence that writes leave, because Terence is like, what does he say? Oh, like, I'm not in it for the drama. Like, there's just been so much drama and I'm not here for that. So I'm writing leave. And I was like, what?
You must have just been like, that is enough.
I was like, you know what? Let's leave. Because I was like, because you don't even make sense to me.
Oh my.
I was like, you don't even make sense to me. Like, I can't keep doing this, because 1 minute you're in, 1 minute you're out, and I just can't.
Okay.
Like, because at first I was like, this has to be a knee-jerk reaction, because his reason didn't make any sense to me. I'm like, you literally kissed me on my forehead this morning when you woke up. You literally was like, I'm so proud of you for the way you handled yourself last night. Like, I feel so good to be with you. And now you're writing leave. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, look. So that means obviously it's done.
It's done.
That sounded like a feeling of happiness from your end.
Oh, for sure.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. And the reason why is
Because
because
you lot don't even follow each other on Instagram now.
No.
When was the last time you spoke?
That day. Commitment ceremony. Oh, no,
Wow.
actually, reunion.
Okay.
But commitment ceremony, really. Yeah.
Obviously, there's been some rumors floating around TikTok and floating around the press.
Oh, gosh,
that
yeah.
apparently you smashed up his belongings and the police had to be called. What's the tea with that? What's the truth?
Listen, first of all, if any of that was true, where's the police reference? Where's the statement from the police that I was apparently questioned? Because you would have that. Second of all, where's the images of the damage? Like, I left the apartments the next day. Like, I had runners, the casting exec was in there with me. She looked around the apartment before I left. So I don't understand why I'm being accused and all of this. And I just think it's really irresponsible. And the joke is, even that story in the papers, the execs had a conversation about it with him, and he is denying that he went to the papers with that. So where's that story come from? He has said, I didn't tell the papers that. So okay, if you wasn't the one that went to the papers with it, where's the story come from? Reveal your source.
So another thing I saw online as well, right, was like, exclusive.
Oh,
Porscha's cast has been exposed.
Oh, well, I was a waitress. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, everyone. I was a waitress, a Stringfellows. Oh, kill me 10 years ago. Like, I don't understand. That wasn't a secret pass.
Because I think some people online were basically trying to say, I'm just talking for the people them online, just telling you what people online have been saying, that maybe because you were kind of saying that you don't want a man who comes home late, people are saying, well, if once upon a time you used to live that life, then...
But even if I was somebody who used to come home late and I've changed my life, why would I want to go backwards?
I agree. It's true. That's fair.
Why would I want someone who's still living that life? I want to progress in my life? And like, if I've changed my life for what I believe to be the better, why would I want to go backwards?
So how do you feel about love now? Are you single? Are you taken? Are you looking for love? Are you over it? Are you traumatized? What's the deal?
I'm never alone.
Oh! So you're talking to someone else now?
I'm all right.
Good. You're good.
Yeah,
You're good.
I'm good.
You're
Don't worry
sorted?
about me. Oh, yeah, I'm good.
We love it.
But the DMs are still open, guys.
Okay. But look, in Maths UK commitment ceremony style, we're going to play a quick game of stay or leave.
Yeah.
Just have to be stay or leave. Cool.
Okay.
So, if you earn more money than them, are you staying or leaving?
Leave.
I knew you were going to say that. Cool. If the guy can't drive or doesn't have a driving license, would you stay or leave with them?
Stay.
Oh, okay.
You can
Elaborate.
always learn how to drive.
Yeah.
Like, you can learn, like,
exactly.
everyone can learn how to
100%.
And just because he doesn't have a license doesn't mean he can't drive.
True. If fashion isn't their strength, would you stay or leave?
Stay. I like dressing men.
But earlier on, you said that you had an issue with Terence's shorts.
But did I leave?
True.
We spoke about
you
it.
did not leave.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
So we love a lady of the truth. You did not leave. Not paying on the first date. Would you stay or leave?
Leave.
Okay. Someone who has a lot of friends and likes to go out, but has a lot of friends. A lot of people in their life.
Stay. There's nothing wrong with that. I like a sociable guy.
Good. Someone who has pets.
It's a hard one. I don't like pets in the home, you see. I hate pets in the home. I'm a germaphobe, so probably I'm like, how attached are you to your pet? And how?
Because some of them are proper like,
yeah, like
my dog's coming with me everywhere.
Yeah, there's some people who have dogs who just live outside, but in the garden. But there's some people who are like sleep in bed with their dogs and sleep in bed
and it's running around.
Do you know what I
No,
mean?
thank you. I
Like,
can't like. That's a leave for me.
Yeah, that's a leave. The
That's
sleep
a
in bed
leave for
is,
me.
no, it's a leave for me.
Someone who's a mummy's boy.
It's a hard one because a mummy's boy respects women, I think, a little bit more. They do, because they've got so much respect for their mum. But at the same time, like, your mum can't be running this house when it should be me. So I think I would stay. I'll give it a shot. I get the
vibe that you want to be, you know, like, I think you're quite like, you're a woman with authority as well. I wouldn't say that, like, you don't give me like a submissive woman vibe.
The thing is,
to the right guy, I think.
Yeah,
but still, to a degree, you're still a woman with authority. So even though, yes, you will submit to a degree, you've still got your voice. So it's kind of like, do you get it?
Do you know what? It's so funny because in relationships, I'm so submissive. Like with my exes, like, because I say it in my VT, like I date quite affluential men, so they are like quite powerful, like CEOs or like professional athletes, so they're quite powerful in their own domain, so there's a respect there almost immediately. So it's very easy for me to kind of just like let them run the show because they walk in with that air of like, I'm about my business, you know.
Where do you find these men?
Instagram.
No, but that's what people.
No, not all the time. Actually, I met my ex who works.
You're a
in
LinkedIn
oil.
babe, innit?
Huh?
You're collecting your men from LinkedIn.
I
don't lie.
don't even have a LinkedIn. I don't even have a LinkedIn.
Don't lie.
No, do you know what? I live in West London, so you go out in Mayfair, they're everywhere. Do you know what I mean? Like if I'm having drinks with my girls, I don't even drink, so I'm drinking a lemonade, yo. But if I'm having drinks with my girls or having dinner, like you'll be surprised. Like, the best place actually, this is for the ladies who are looking for affluential men. Go and have a drink at the bar of a fancy hotel. Because these men, especially if they're passport bros, they are staying in these fancy hotels, right? And they usually come down to the bar for a drink or have dinner by themselves. And if you're there with your girl, and if he is a confident man and he's feeling you, he will walk over or he'll send you a drink. And so that is a great place to meet, I think, affluential men.
Okay. So one last word from Porscha.
Yes.
For someone who's looking for love, what advice would you give them?
Be open and know your boundaries and standards and stick to them. Because if you compromise on your boundaries and standards for somebody else, you may gain them, but you'll lose yourself.
Porscha, thank you so much for joining me on the show. Woo, woo, woo.
Thank you for having me. It's been really